Title: He offered his jacket to a shivering woman at the bus stop, not knowing she was a CEO who would change his life forever. The cold wind cut through the night like shards of glass. Rain fell steadily, painting the city in silver streaks under the dim glow of streetlights. At a lonely bus stop, a young man stood with his hands buried deep in his worn-out jacket pockets, shoulders hunched against the chill. Ethan Turner was tired of long shifts at the mechanic shop, tired of counting coins to make rent, tired of life feeling like an uphill battle he could never quite win. It was past midnight, and the last bus was running late again. As he rubbed his hands together for warmth, he noticed movement at the far end of the shelter, a woman, shivering violently. Her elegant coat was soaked, and her heels looked entirely out of place on the wet pavement. She was sitting on the metal bench, arms wrapped around herself, lips pale from the cold. Ethan hesitated for a moment, unsure if she'd appreciate a stranger approaching. But the sight of her trembling made his conscience heavier than the rain on his shoulders. He took a step closer and cleared his throat softly. "Hey, miss, you look freezing. Here." He slipped off his old brown jacket and gently placed it over her shoulders. She looked up in surprise. Her eyes, gray, sharp, yet weary, met his, and for a moment, they simply stared at each other through the falling rain. "I can't take this," she murmured, her voice shaky. "Please," he insisted with a small smile. "I've been working near engines all day, I'm warm enough. You need it more than I do." A faint smile tugged at her lips, but she said nothing. She simply nodded, clutching the jacket tighter. When the bus finally arrived, they both boarded. She took a seat near the window, he sat 2 rows behind her. Neither spoke again, but she kept glancing at the jacket wrapped around her, as if it carried something more than warmth. The next morning, Ethan returned to work at the small auto garage. He didn't think much of the woman from the night before. People came and went, some kind, some rude, most forgettable. He was tightening bolts under a customer's car when a shadow fell across the concrete floor. "Excuse me," a familiar voice said. He slid out from under the car, wiping grease from his hands, and froze. It was her, the woman from the bus stop, this time dressed in a crisp white blazer, heels polished, confidence radiating from every step. "I believe this belongs to you," she said, holding out his brown jacket. Ethan blinked in disbelief. "You found me," she smiled. "Wasn't hard. Your name stitched inside the collar." He chuckled awkwardly, scratching his neck. "Yeah, my mom did that when I was a kid." For a moment, neither spoke. Then she extended her hand. "I'm Ava Reynolds, CEO of Reynolds Motors." He nearly dropped the wrench in his hand. "Wait, Reynolds Motors? The one that owns this garage?" "Yes," she said gently, eyes studying him. "I was there last night after a board meeting went badly. My driver left early, and I didn't exactly expect a kind stranger to come along." Ethan felt his face flush. "I didn't know who you were. I just did what was right," she interrupted. "And that's exactly what most people forget to do." Over the next few days, Ava kept showing up at the garage. Sometimes to check on her company's operations, other times just to talk to Ethan. She learned that he'd dropped out of college to care for his mother, who had fallen ill, and that he'd been working 3 jobs since her passing. He never complained. He never asked for pity. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Ava leaned against a car beside him. "You ever think about going back to school?" she asked. Ethan laughed dryly. "Every day. But dreams don't pay the bills." Ava looked at him thoughtfully, then smiled. "Maybe they don't have to, for now." A week later, Ethan was called into the main office. The manager handed him a letter. Inside was a formal offer, an invitation to join Reynolds Motors' training program for advanced automotive design, fully funded by the company. He blinked, stunned. "This can't be real." The manager just smiled. "Apparently, the CEO herself recommended you." The next few months changed everything. Ethan worked harder than ever, learning design, engineering, leadership. Ava mentored him personally, guiding him through technical challenges and, sometimes, through his doubts. But as their friendship deepened, so did the rumors, whispers around the office about the CEO and her favorite trainee. Ava faced criticism from board members who claimed she was being too personal in her management style. And Ethan, humble as he was, struggled under the pressure. "People think I'm only here because you feel sorry for me," he admitted one night during a storm, eerily similar to the night they first met. Ava looked at him squarely. "You're here because you earned it. And I don't let anyone tell me who deserves a chance." Her words hit him deeper than she realized. Years passed. Ethan rose through the company ranks with integrity and determination. He launched a new line of eco-friendly vehicles that became Reynolds Motors' greatest success in decades. Ava, proud but exhausted from years of corporate battles, finally took a step back from daily operations. On her last day as CEO, she found a small box on her desk. Inside was her old cardigan, and Ethan's brown jacket, freshly cleaned and neatly folded. A note rested on top. "You once gave me an opportunity when I didn't believe in myself. That night, I gave you my jacket. But you gave me something far greater, hope. Thank you, Ava." She smiled, tears filling her eyes as the city lights reflected on the office window, the same city where one cold, rainy night had changed two lives forever. In the end, kindness had built more than a bridge between two strangers, it had built a legacy. Because sometimes, the smallest act of warmth on a cold night can ignite a fire that changes everything. Would you like me to format this version into a 15-minute YouTube storytelling script, including voiceover cues, emotional pauses, and scene transitions perfect for narration and visual pacing?